Hello, everybody, and welcome to Tenderly Loving Elvis. That's right, we are back, and we're going to be reviewing the rest of All the King's Men, Volume 3, Part 2. Because I couldn't finish it the last time we were doing this, guys. So, hello, this is a live chat. We're going to watch the last 40 minutes of All the King's Men tonight. So, hello, all. Just waiting for a few more people to come in if you want, and we'll get started. Sorry I'm late tonight, guys. I'm sorry. I had company, and then we had a really, really late dinner, and Lord, it was nice to have company, though. Hadn't had any in a really long time, so my husband's little brother came into town and spent a little time with us. We hadn't seen him in years, so that's where I was. We normally start at 9:30, but I am a little late because of company tonight. Hey, Jerry, Erica, Connie, Karen. Hello, hello. So, All the King's Men, All the King's Men, Volume 3, Part 2 is now. So just know that as with this show and all my shows is for entertainment purposes only. Okay, guys, this is based on my own opinion, research, what we watch. Also, this show has caused some controversies because of the subject matter. So I just thought you should know. But I haven't seen anything in this series so far that's been controversial, but there has been some controversy with me watching these, and I keep thinking, why? So far, I haven't heard anything negative, really, so yeah. Welcome, guys. How am I doing, Karen? I'm doing fine. I'm a little tired, though. It's been a long week, and then I had company, and I'm here with you guys now, and I can probably only make it for about 45 minutes to under an hour, guys, because I'm exhausted. I've been up since about 5:30 this morning, so I'm pretty tired. But you know what? That's called real life, guys. That's anybody's working life, right? And home life and mom life and all that kind of life, right? Sylvie, hey. Hey, my friends. Okay, guys. So without further ado, I would like to start this live stream. Let's start this controversial documentary, because as you guys know, I've never seen it before to even judge it. So I'm judging it as we go along, so that's just the part of it, guys. I've never seen it before. So I'm going to share screen and we're going to get started. Let's get after it, guys. We stopped at 20 minutes and about 30 seconds in, but I rewound it just a tad. So
oh yeah, well over the years he would always blow up and fire whoever he fired, but then later on he'd give them a car or something. That was his way of saying I'm sorry.
He had rather you say you were sorry, because most of the time he felt like he was in the right,
Feeling in the right defines Elvis's portrayal of a half-breed Native American in Flaming Star.
You don't feel it like I do about Ma's death. I'm Indian. And I'll never forget the whites killed her because she was Indian, too.
In this action-driven Western, Elvis plays his few dramatic scenes with intensity and integrity. But the most dramatic incidents occur off-camera.
Elvis had to pick a horse out. We expect to be back about a half hour. Boy, in about 10 minutes, here comes Elvis galloping up on his horse, hollering, whoa. And that horse won't stop. Elvis' legs are flopping out, man. And he came up and they had an entrance to this corral. And that horse knew to turn in there. And as he came up there, he tried to turn and it was pavement there. And his back legs just spread eagle out almost like this here. And Elvis was holding on this way. And then all of a sudden he's whipped back over this way and the horse comes running through. Comes underneath the lean-to there, and Elvis ducked down, or he would have hit his head on that lean where the stalls are, and the horse just stopped right there. Elvis jumped off of him, boy. And you son of a bitch, haul off, hit that horse just like that. And about a minute later, here comes Jimmy, the wrangler. He said, Miss Presley, would you pick out another horse? He said, we'll try it. And he said, hell no, I want him. He's not going to try anything else. Now I know. So that's who he did. He rode that horse.
After we wrapped on Flaming Star, I've got my arm in a sling. I'm on this big horse, and I come galloping by, I'm going to gallop, try to come as close to them as I could. Elvis was walking along there, but he had a rope. So I come around, yeah! He turned around, right around my neck, right around, and I'm going at a fast clip with this horse, and he was so shocked that he got me, he just held on. Well, hell, man, my tongue shot out, the horse's tongue shot out, but I stopped that horse, but he could have done that 100 times. He'd never thrown a rope in his life.
In 1960, when we were still at the Beverly Wilshire Hotel, where we stayed the first few months before we moved out, got kicked out, really. I think we were making Flaming Star or just getting ready to, and we got into some horseplay around, and Red and Joe and myself had Elvis down. Red's up at the top of him. Joe's hanging on to the middle of him, and I've got his legs. So we really got him down. And Red started, I didn't know what he was doing, but Red was rubbing Elvis's nose, man. And Elvis was going crazy. He wanted to get free. So Red all of a sudden let go and got up and took off. And I had his leg, and I got up and took off, and Joe was just stuck there. Elvis started, boy, he worked over Joe. He grabbed a guitar and broke it over Joe's elbow. I mean, he was pounding on Joe, and we didn't know this till we found out later. We were outside in the hallway, and Elvis came over there, and he saw us in the hallway, and he threw that guitar, and just as he threw it, a guy across the hall from us opened up his door to see what the racket was, and that guitar went right by his face, man. He'd step back and jump back like that. He slammed that door, and a few minutes later, the assistant manager called, said that, what's going on up there? And we said, well, nothing. There was some noise out in the hallway, but there's not any out there now. And it found out that it was us because he had seen Elvis, and so we were asked to leave. And we were thrown out of some great hotels. Oh, that's when we found the house on Perugia Way, and we had to move there.
It was on the Bel Air golf course.
One day we spotted Dean Martin up there. We told Elvis about it and everything. Elvis came over there, and Dean was walking up. He was getting ready to hit his second shot, and Elvis had started singing that song. I'm not going to do it. I'll say the word.
Do it.
You do it.
But Dean Martin, he's lining up his shot and just getting ready to hit and return to me. Hey, would you hold it down? Get ready to hit again. Oh, song, whatever, God damn, man. So when he came over and saw Elvis, he said, I'm sorry, man, I didn't know it was you. And then after he left, I was laughing. Then the more he thought about it, he said, that son of a bitch tell me to shut up.
He was still on it.
I never did like his damn singing anyway.
At one time, though, you could go out and buy all the toy boats that you can find. And he said, get about a dozen BB guns and all the BBs. And while you at it, pick up some flash bulbs. So we go to this toy store, and we bought every toy boat that you can imagine it would float. So we come back, and he gets everybody together, and we go to the pool, where we launch these boats in the pool, and flash bulbs, and like I say, some of them would move around. And everybody, all the guys was around the pool with these BB guns. I mean, they were loaded, boy. And we sat and shot until we sunk every one of them. And after that, he wanted to do it all over again. So some of us had to go down in there and recoup these, with glass flying everywhere, had to get these boats back up. We taped them back up, and we started all over again.
We really enjoyed more off the set stuff than him just making the picture. Elvis liked the action, boy. Once
They were such children. All the games that they would play in between making the movies and stuff like this. I mean, Elvis wanted to go to a toy store and buy all these toy boats so he can put them in a pool and shoot them. That's such a child behavior, but we all know he was a big kid at heart, so it's just funny to know that the ruckus that they put themselves in these situations was childlike teenager type behavior. It wasn't like adult behavior. It was more like child teenage behavior that they got up to. I think it's hilarious. So let's see what else they have to say, guys.
They got to the fight stuff. He got into it.
We did fights in every picture.
Yeah.
Fight season. And nobody ever got.
That's when he loved.
Nobody ever hit Elvis. He never hit any of us. Only one accident, right in the middle of a fight, he hit me in the stomach, and I went down. He was going to lift my head up for the next punch, and his thumb went in my eye. And I did the rest of the fight scene. I knew the routine. Went through the routine, but I never saw him after that.
When he came back from overseas, all of the fan magazines and the movie magazines did all these stories on Elvis and karate.
And we started using it. We were the first one to use it in movies so much that, where it was really visible.
It was so new then.
Come on. No, that's karate. Come on.
That army time was where he got into it. He always would go to a karate institute there in Paris where these Koreans were and everything else. And that's where he'd go work out. I went in there with him one day, the first day we were there, and boy, it's the baddest bunch of guys I ever seen in my life. I mean, those guys would chew through a back of a trailer truck.
And then all of a sudden Elvis came back and he's all trim. That's the best he ever looked when he got out of the army. And he was really into this stuff. We put on demonstrations for Ann Margaret and her husband in Las Vegas years later. Anybody who came by, we put on a demonstration. And the two dummies here were the ones that...
And Elvis did not care if there were no pads or no. I did it on concrete over there at the Sahara Hotel. He was showing the dealers and the guys backstage, and there's this concrete ramp, and he's having me do it on that concrete, man. I'd get scraped and bruised.
Up at the house, we had this big marble table, And basically, back then, karate was new to a lot of people. And so Elvis the subject got on karate, and Charlie Thompson says, oh, you get a good straight fighter, and you get to throw in a good right or a roundhouse. He said, to take a karate guy out in a minute. Of course, Elvis says, okay, let's try it. And they get up, and he positions Thompson right in front of the marble table. So Thompson says, okay. Elvis says, all right, go ahead, throw a punch. Well, he throws a punch. Elvis knocks his hand away and gives him the heel of his hand, and he goes sailing across the marble table. But he gets up. He says, yeah, okay, but what if? And he says, what if what? He says, well, what if I come with a roundhouse? And Elvis says, well, go ahead. He comes with a roundhouse. Boom, across the table again. He did that 5 or 6 times. Every time he got up, he said, what if?
What if? That got to be the thing. But what if?
And finally, Elvis looked at him. He said, what if what now, Charlie? And Charlie sat down.
While making his next film, Wild in the Country, Elvis meets his leading lady, Hope Lang, in one of Hollywood's least romantic introductions ever.
Elvis had boils. He'd had him on Flaming Star, and then he had him again on Wild in the Country, and it was bad. They had to lance it right underneath there. And Hope Lang come up there to say hello before shooting. She had just arrived and everything, and she came to meet him and say hi. And he started telling him about the boil, and all of a sudden she jerked the covers. Where are they? Like this here, pulled the sheet up. He panicked. He had nothing on, man. So that opened it up right there. They were very tight and friendly after that.
But Elvis falls for co-star Tuesday Weld.
It needs a man to go to hell with, because that's what I want. Hours and hours of heaven that just slides on down to hell, and we don't care how or when it is.
She was a wild thing. I mean, she had a lot of personality, and it had a little girl quality about her. Something everything Elvis did, some girls might be offended too. She just broke up and laughed about it.
They called Tuesday Weld like a sex kitten, a sex vixen. She was just radiating it, and every role she ever was in, every guy ever watched a role that she was in always wanted to be with her, and Elvis was with her, and they spent some good amount of time together, guys.
He dated her, and she was a free and easy spirit.
After 2 lackluster dramas, Elvis returns with a surefire formula featuring plenty of new songs and lots of pretty girls. Blue Hawaii is an instant success.
Do you want to kiss me again?
I don't rob cradles.
Did you ever see anything like this in a cradle?
The film features a few scenes shot at a popular local restaurant. Elvis and friends gather here later for drinks and an unexpected performance.
We finished the filming. No, we're at the Cocoa Palms. Is that it?
Yeah.
Which is a nice little Hawaiian restaurant with a little patio thing out front, so they can watch the shows. Over on the other side, there's a canal there with a little bridge across.
Oh, that's where they filmed the wedding.
Open air theater.
We're watching this show. Hawaiian, beautiful. They're on the bridge singing, "This is the moment." And all of a sudden, we hear this commotion. Here comes Sonny storming down on the other side. He gets to the bridge. Elvis, as he's walking, Elvis just sinking down. Oh, shit. When everybody got off of the show and started watching Sonny.
Because they thought I was going to walk between them.
Yeah, well, he didn't walk between them. They're right in the middle of this beautiful love song, and Sonny gets in and starts singing with them. Yeah, I waited for.
And I can't sing.
And he can't sing what the shit.
Well, when I left, the bar was right across the sidewalk next to the open air restaurant where they were. And I met two girls, and I was just sitting there drinking Mai Tais. And I didn't know how strong they were. So we left. I said I'd walk them back over there. So when I come back, the show has moved out to the bridge now. And I don't know they're in the show because people are always playing ukuleles and singing over there in Hawaii everywhere. So I just walk up and start singing with them, you know.
Mama Torog is just stomping his foot. And Elvis says, "Don't let that son of a bitch over here. You get his ass out of here."
I didn't know what I'd done. See, I wouldn't sing with anybody if I had been in my right mind.
Even so, Hawaii enchants the boy from Tupelo.
We loved Hawaii. We had some good times in Hawaii.
We did a lot of stuff in Hawaii.
It was another world. I mean, the people, the personalities, everyone, their language, aloha.
Yeah,
everything.
50,000.
He did a charity for the USS Arizona. And an interesting thing that happened there was that a newspaper columnist wrote the next day about Elvis coming over there doing the show, all the money going to he says, "It's pretty bad when we have to have someone from the mainland come over here and try to help us get this Arizona memorial built." And boy, they popped to, and they got the funds, and they got it started. Elvis was very instrumental there.
Elvis's film persona increasingly resembles his personal life. He's action-loving, constantly on the move, and always surrounded by beautiful girls.
Matter of fact, one night, just for the heck of it, I don't know why, but I counted. And there was 7 guys in the house and 152 women.
We had grazing rides, though.
That was the party house. The girls that came up there and the stories about Scatter.
Scatter, Elvis had a chimp he was talking about. Yeah.
This monkey was an alcoholic. At these parties, everybody, if you set your drink down, it wasn't going to be there if the monkey was in the room. He'd come over and drink it, look up the girls' dresses.
Now, we didn't train him to do this, but Scatter would lay on his back on a couch, lay halfway on and halfway off, and if a girl walked by, he'd take his little finger and crook his finger and pull her skirt up and look up under her skirt.
Those girls up there, the ones that were really, were afraid of him, he knew it. And they would go into that bathroom before they could get to it. He'd be there waiting on them to go inside with them. So they had to try to work out a thing where they could go real fast, and he would still beat them. They'd shut the door thinking he was outside, and he was inside. He got in before them, and you'd hear him open that door, scream, and come running back out. It was just a lot of crazy things like that. He tore up the telephone wire, took the phone guy 3 days to get the phones working in the house.
But the craziest thing is that what Elvis would do, he'd wait till the room filled up. So we used to keep Scatter underneath the steps. And he'd look around and be sure everybody's having fun and all the girls are having fun. And he'd look at 1 or 2 of us and say, "All right, boys, let them out." And we'd open up that door, and that chimpanzee would come out going, "Ooh, ooh, ooh," and scare the heck out of everybody. Just running all over the place, scared the heck out of the girls. They'd start screaming because they didn't know what was happening all of a sudden.
We were finishing up Kid Galahad over at Goldwyn Studios, and we would bring Scatter over to Goldwyn Studio with us, and Scatter would go up. We could get inside the sound stage and go straight up it. and he'd be up there in the rafters somewhere. You could hear him moving around, and you just hear these noises. And they'd have to stop shooting because, I mean, they couldn't find him. It was black up there. And they had to go up on those catwalks and hunt him. So Walter Mirisch came over one day and said, look, is there any way that y'all can just quit bringing this chimp over here because he's causing so many problems? So Alan and I got Scatter by each arm, and Scatter would walk with us. And we were going out, and he got loose and hit a drain pipe, grabbed hold of a drain pipe, went up to the second floor window and jumped in the middle of Sam Gowen's desk. Sam Gowen sitting there, and this chimp just boom, landed right in the middle of his desk. And you can imagine, I mean, this guy's pretty old, you know, and here's a chimp. And he, right after that, they banned Scatter and us too, I think, from the lot.
While off-screen antics make the movies pale in comparison, Fun Times set the tone for Elvis's 13th picture, Fun in Acapulco. For a splash of drama, Elvis plays a cliff diver who loses his nerve and fights to regain it.
There's a scene where when Elvis dives off the cliff and all these beach boys lift him up over their heads and carry him up some steps, you know, celebration. Well, we're all watching the scene, and we're watching Elvis. He's doing this. We got through the scene. He came up and said, there's some guy in there grabbing him up. Right. So we went to Mickey Moore, and Mickey, the assistant director, knew, you know, all these extras. They'd worked with him before. He went over to one of the guys, tapped on the shoulder. So I don't think we need you in this scene. You know, we want you over here. There was a strange person who was having a ball with Elvis.
And we're sitting at different tables in the scene. You know, so Elvis said, watch it. See, man, who it is doing it. You couldn't. They were all underneath him doing it. Boy.
The lighthearted picture marks another success for the Presley formula. Fun in Acapulco hits number 5 at the box office, and the soundtrack album goes to the top 5 on the pop charts. But within days of its opening in November 1963, the nation's attention focuses on Dallas, Texas.
Most times, you know, we would stay up all night. We had just gone to bed. My room there was a little short hallway that led from my room to his and then into the big den. And I went in my room and automatically turned my TV on while I was getting ready to go to bed. And they announced about Kennedy getting shot. And, you know, Elvis was pro USA, and he liked Kennedy and what have you. So I went and knocked on his door. I said, Elvis, you need to get up. And he said, get the hell away from my door. And I said, no. I said, President Kennedy was just assassinated, just shot and assassinated. He said, what? He said, tell him I want some coffee out in the den. So we all gathered in the den. And it was a funny thing. You know, we had that big marble table out there and a big TV, and we were all sitting there watching it. And then they finally got to the point and showed Lee Harvey Oswald, you know, later that day. And there was a coffee cup there because we watched it all day long. And he took that coffee cup and he slammed it down on the marble table just like that and said, he looked around at us and he said, look at that beady-eyed son of a bitch. He said, let me tell you something. And this was weird. He said, if anybody ever does that to me, if anybody kills me, I want you guys to get to him first before the police do. Tear his eyeballs out, his tongue, his lips, everything. But he really ranted and raved about that. And Margaret came over and the both of them watched for, you know, almost all night long. When Jack Ruby shot Lee Harvey Oswald, and he was cheering Jack Ruby.
He collected everything on it. He actually got
he obsessed about it.
The video, the tape before it was, you know, edited, and all kinds of notes.
Swirled him out.
He liked.
He was a public figure, you know, and he felt the whole situation. He said, you know.
He also liked the conspiracy stuff.
Yeah, he thought.
Well,
CIA.
Kennedy thing was
See,
conspiracy
Elvis had a lot of
from the very
political
start.
views, but he never, in public, he would never come out with it. Only
Colonel
to,
Parker
to the guy.
told him that. He told me Colonel Parker told him that. He said because no matter what side you take, you're going to offend somebody.
Yeah, exactly.
Holding to the Colonel's philosophy, the next film again follows the formula. The chemistry between Anne Margaret and Elvis is palpable, invigorating Viva Las Vegas and spilling over into an off-camera romance.
They were, in some instances, the sensual look and all that, they were a lot alike, but they took to each other. She had the greatest laugh in the world.
Yeah.
She used to, it was just happy times when she was there with all of us.
These guys us guys didn't sleep at night thinking about the next day we were going to see Anne Margaret on the set.
Yeah, me.
See, the reason we loved her so much is she accepted us in a way that others didn't. There was no jealousy there. She had her time with Elvis. She had her time with Elvis and all of us. And she just accepted us being around, and you could tell she enjoyed. Because we sit around and talk about things just because we all cared about her so much. But she was just really a sweetheart, a real sweetheart.
He really wanted to be a good actor in good movies.
He had some good movies when he came out. Then they went in the toilet.
You know what a good question would be is with what they were saying, she's a sweetheart. They enjoyed her. She was fun. She accepted the Memphis Mafia. There was no jealousy there, no favoritism. I bet you they couldn't and wouldn't say something like that about Prissy Pants. I bet you they couldn't say that whole sentence with Priscilla's name in there. Yeah, I bet you they wouldn't and they couldn't. I don't know, but we'll see when more Priscilla comes out of their mouth. But so far, this is the one that they had favoritism towards Anne Margaret, which we kind of already knew that in a way, but it just confirmed it in this because I just saw them all say it. They enjoyed Anne Margaret. They thought she was funny and sweet, just a sweet girl.
Each new film takes Elvis further from his dream of being a serious actor.
I always felt it was like a travelogue starring him. Go to these countries, Acapulco, or he would just go there and
Run in Cleveland.
Sing a song, hit a guy. Sing a song, hit a guy. That's what
Colonel did what they call a cookie cutter deal.
Yeah, he said, put the check there, put the script here. And
Colonel said, just use this formula. And they would sign like 3 and 4 or 5 pictures ahead because, one of the main things, Elvis went through a tremendous amount of cash. And they would get all this money up in front because the Colonel called it now money.
They made a big thing when Elizabeth Taylor got $1 million to do Cleopatra. Before that, and this is what the Colonel didn't like things getting out, and it didn't get out. Elvis had just signed a year or two earlier with MGM for $1 million a picture for 4 pictures. So it was a $4 million deal for 4 pictures. And they made a big publicity thing that she got $1 million for Cleopatra. Colonel says, we don't want those figures out. No one needs to know what Elvis is making.
Elvis can command such sums because his movies, no matter how bad, invariably turn a profit. This enables producer Hal Wallace to finance other, classier.
The reason why I believe that Elvis made so much and they made so much with Elvis movies, even though some were as popular as others, probably because Elvis Presley wasn't doing any live shows anymore. He wasn't going to any places and playing on stage anymore for his fans. All he was doing was movies. So all through the 60s, the only place that you could see Elvis from, 1960 to 1967, the only place on stage anywhere you could see Elvis was the theater because he was just doing movies. He wasn't with a live audience until the 68 comeback special. So all of that time, all of those movies from 1960 to 67 was all for us as fans to see them because you couldn't anywhere else. I think that's why the movies did so well at the box office and ticket sales people kept buying the tickets for the movies. Whether Elvis thought the script was good or not, it still sold because Elvis wasn't doing anything else. He was just doing movies, and us ladies wanted to see him, right? So y'all would purchase a ticket to go see an Elvis movie. You know, it's understandable. In fact, if I was a little bit older and been in the generation, you older folks who love Elvis as much as I do back then, if I had a time machine, I would be buying Elvis movie tickets too, you know, just like you guys were. I mean, I grew up watching them on TV all the time. And then when VHS came out, we were recording the movies when they're on TV, you know, and now you can just go out and buy a DVD or watch it on YouTube or whatever now, you know. So I mean, back in the day, that's the only place you could watch Elvis was on the big screen at the movies. But wow, you know, times have changed, right? But it was only because he wasn't doing any live shows.
Non-Elvis films.
Well, Wallace would use this to do that. I mean,
You know that he used the money off of one Elvis picture to finance Beckett.
exactly
Why?
what he
$8
did.
million
That's
he
right.
made.
Beckett was financed by an Elvis picture. Exactly.
Yeah, Blue Hawaii.
Yeah.
$8 million.
Yeah, he made a killing off Blue Hawaii.
Blue Hawaii, it cost $1 million to make it, and it made over $8 million. And Beckett ran like $5 or $6 million to make. But back then, for a picture to make $8 million, which is 8 times what it cost, today would be $240 to $250 million because they're spending $25 million on pictures today. So that's it sounds very small, but in 1960, 61, 62, an $8 million gross picture that you make profit on, there just wasn't that many of them.
Sonny's right. Sonny's right. So anyways, guys, hold on a minute. We're going to do an intermission real fast because I have to. I hear my son is up and about. So hold on a minute. Let's see here. We're going to do a little bit of intermission. But
Wound up to bowl you over it.
Splatter. So I was in the catwalk way up above and on the sound stage with these water balloons. And was it Bill Reynolds making his hair? And he's got his hair all perfect, you know, and had been in there 45 minutes getting ready for the shot. And come walking out and took about 2 steps and I dropped it. And I never thought I'd hit him, but it just was perfect. He walked right on that balloon and hit, and the hair went, you know, down. He just looked up, just like did a about face, went back in the dressing room, and they go again, you know. And I said, oh, shit.
At one time, though, dropping water balloons, and finally Elvis, you know, he'd about had enough, so he got the hose that was used on the set. And boy, when he turned that on, it was some pressure. And he was, I don't know if Red was up there or not, but he was hitting everybody that was up there. And I mean, he was knocking your feet right out Monday. You can
And firecrackers. I was sitting dozing in one of those director's chairs when I was,
Big baby giant.
you know, sleep. He lit one of these cherry bombs, man, and flipped it, and it hit right on my ass. And if you ever been hit with a cherry bomb, it blew a hole in my pants, blew a hole in the seat, and left a bruise that big on my rear end.
Glad it wasn't up in the front on here.
You had to do a whole lot of stuff to break the boredom and to make it a little bit more enjoyable for him.
The efforts to keep Elvis amused have the opposite effect on director John Rich.
John Rich, he didn't like the playing around that we did on every set.
Something real funny was in between scenes while they're setting up, and then it kept on after they got the setup. We just couldn't turn it off. It was that funny. Every time Elvis would look out at us, he'd start busting up, breaking up, and they were ready to do the scene.
And Rich, he wanted to bring everything on the budget and right on schedule. He didn't need all this stuff. He thought it was stupid. And he said, one more outburst, and you guys are off of here. And Elvis said, whoop, wait a minute. Hold on, let's get one damn thing straight. Said, first place, these scripts aren't worth the shit. And I got to have, you know, I'm going to have fun no matter what. And I have fun with these guys are here for purpose. And if they go, then you can kiss my ass goodbye. And what do you want to do about that? And Rich just, you know, he couldn't believe it.
But Elvis's rebellion on the set seems tame compared to the political and cultural ferment taking place among America's youth. Psychedelia permeates the atmosphere and reaches Elvis in a most surprising way.
Charlie baked some brownies, and in them there was some marijuana. And I didn't know because we'd never had any before that was in any brownies that we'd eaten before. So I ate 3 or 4 of those brownies and took out there, and Elvis ate a couple of them. And we were watching TV out in the living room, and all of a sudden, Charlie comes running in there. Who ate all the brownies? And Elvis said, we didn't eat all of them, damn it, Charlie. We had some. What's wrong with you? No, you don't understand, Elvis. And then he said that they had pot in them. And Elvis said, they had what? He said, pot. What's that going to do? I thought you had to smoke that stuff. And Charlie said, no, you can eat that stuff too. We didn't smoke it or use it because, you had no control.
Up until that point, we didn't.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden, Elvis got a taste of it. And
So we tried again.
He couldn't smoke, and because Elvis couldn't inhale, and it'd take 12 bales to get him high because he could not, and so finally he found I could eat it, and it was everything changed then,
Another time, we're in there, we smoking, and I got paranoid. And I'm listening to Sonny and Elvis talking, and they're just talking regular conversation, about whatever. And I said, son of a bitches are plotting. Oh, boy. All right. Okay, here we go. Every word they said was directed toward me, I thought. And that's when I said, this stuff is no good.
You know what I think?
But I had sense enough to say, okay, before they jump me, I'm going to go to bed. So I went to bed, and the next morning I woke up and I realized,
You know what, Red? I really think you got to remember, too, at this time, I think some of that stuff was being laced with LSD stuff.
Hey, just to point it out here, guys, that's the first for me. Now, granted, we heard how Linda Thompson said that towards her time with him, he was smoking it because he had glaucoma and stuff. I mean, it wasn't a big deal. Some other people thought it was, but not really. Look at the culture back then. Look in the United States now. It's legal in certain states, for crying out loud. It's medicinal in certain areas too, like made for medicine. So I didn't know that he ate pot brownies before. This is new. This is new to me. So see, I just learned something new, and they're all agreeing on it. But it really doesn't surprise me none, because it was an innocent thing. He ate brownies. He didn't know there was anything in it, but I guess once he found out the feeling it made him, I guess every once in a while he would have some brownies. But the other thing I didn't even know, this is weird too. There's lots of photos and videos and stuff of Elvis smoking his cigars, his cigarillos. There's a few pictures of the 50s. Every once in a while you can see a cigarette in his mouth. So, okay, he couldn't inhale. He didn't inhale, but he smoked. I don't know. I mean, What, you just hold it for stress or what? Because I could clearly see him smoking. Can you guys? All right. I'll push play.
Yeah, hallucinatory stuff, and I think that might have been in there, Red, because we had never felt paranoid. We felt silly and crazy.
Clambake?
Yeah. Silly and crazy well describes Clambake, which almost looks like a nostalgic tribute to another, more innocent era. Elvis has fun making this one, thanks in part to the understanding of his new director, the tolerant Arthur Nadell.
Arthur Nadell, the director, was one of the nicest people you'll ever want to meet.
And we had more fun on that movie because we were into the tricks. I mean, we throwing water balloons, anything like firecrackers, anything. So the cast got caught up in it. Bill Bixby and Elvis were doing a scene with this very buxom young lady at the bar who had one of these like stretch tank tops. So Elvis was supposed to come over and do a scene with him. And Bill Bixby, when Elvis got his first couple lines out, he just went away from the script and said, "Yeah, but what do you think about these?" and just put, and she just sat there in this huge bassoon. And Arthur Nadell was over just dying laughing. Elvis was, he never had anything like that happen. And his mouth just dropped. He couldn't think of what to say.
All the hijinks and horseplay in the world can't save the films Elvis makes toward the end of the 1960s. They continue, however, to generate a modest profit, and Elvis gets to experiment with different kinds of roles. But the unrelenting string of mediocre movies leaves him sick of the whole business, and he loses his desire to become a serious actor. After starring in 31 feature films in 13 years, Elvis finally quits in disgust and frustration.
So when he really started complaining about the movies to us, he didn't complain to anybody else. You know, I mean, it's my opinion. He used to think about stuff so darn much, you know. Billy could tell you, too, that, you know, things used to bother him so much and it started eating away at him. And the pressure and the stress. And he said, after I fulfill my movie contracts that I have now, I don't want to do no more movies.
They were done. That was it. They were done.
Hal Wallace made a telltale statement after Elvis died in an interview that I saw, and it kind of made me angry a little, because I knew that in a way, although music was first with him, he really wanted to be a good actor in good movies. And he said, we didn't, this is the exact word, we didn't buy Elvis Presley to be another James Dean. We bought him to sing his songs.
Elvis would star in 2 more feature films, both of them documentaries on his return to the concert stage and his first love, live performance. In Elvis, That's the Way It Is, and Elvis on Tour, he would triumph in the role he was born to play, the king of rock and roll. And now, here are scenes from The King Comes Back, Volume 4 of All the King's Men.
Elvis is sitting in his customary seat
This is like
on
a
the couch.
peek into his volume 4. We'll stop it here. We're done with volume 3. Wow. Lots to absorb. I mean, you know, yeah. Some of the stories were hilarious. I learned something new. I didn't even know he had pot brownies. But, you know, Linda did say he smoked, and for his glaucoma. Priscilla claims that Elvis and me, with Sonny and Red and a few others, they did LSD. These were all at his home. These didn't happen on tour, Bethana. This was all in his homes. Nothing on the road or anything, guys. But yeah, this is new. But like I said, I mean, the culture back then and how it is now, it's crazy, man. It's crazy. And Karen, I think he had, yeah, I mean, he might not have and they said that he didn't inhale. Now, I want to know why. We all know Lisa Marie smoked. So why couldn't Elvis smoke? Because I've seen him with cigars and I saw him with cigarettes in his hand in the 50s. So he did. So I don't get how he couldn't inhale. And yeah, I mean, he could be possibly chewing on the filter tip. That's true because, you know, I think, you know what I think? If you guys know anybody who has attention deficit disorder or hypertension deficit disorder, they're constantly moving. It don't matter. A leg, a hand, something's got to be moving. They tend to have chewing sensations as well. The only reason why I know this is my husband and my son has a little bit of ADHD. So I always thought maybe Elvis could have had some because there's lots of interviews where his leg is just a thumping while he's sitting there. Just a thumping. You know, I don't think he could sit still. And back then, they couldn't diagnose that. Back then, they didn't know what that was. But I think that's part of what made Elvis so unique back in that day, in that time, because I think he had something so different that people couldn't even, you know, and one of it was his tick, just constantly moving. It could be a reason why he was chewing on those cigar tips. I mean, granted, I am not a doctor, but I have seen a lot of people who I know personally with ADHD. They do the same things. They have the same kind of, they can't quit moving. They just can't quit moving. They're just like just like constantly moving. So, I mean, that's just my point of view. After observing thousands and thousands of hours of video tapes of this man, that's how I think in my brain how I, perceive him is I think he had a little bit of ADHD because he couldn't quit moving. He just couldn't do it, you know. And I know a lot of people like that. So, and I also know a few people that have ADHD or ADHD, and they're either smokers or they're biting something. My son has ADHD, and he bites the tips of his pencils. I mean, I might buy him 3 or 4 or 5 packs of pencils, every 2 or 3 months, because he's constantly just biting the tips of the pencils off. He's biting the eraser just off, like a little beaver, because he has to do something during class because they have to make him sit still and pay attention. And my son cannot sit still. He does everything he can to pay attention. It's kind of hard for him, but he cannot sit still. So the only things that help him focus is biting tips off of his erasers, moving his leg up and down, or he has fidget spinners now. That helps him too, but they didn't have anything like that back in the day. But that's just my point of view. Bethania, do you have a favorite Memphis Mafia member? I do have. I have 3. If that answers your question, I have 3. I know that it's controversial because they were a part of that book, but I don't know what it is. But there's something about Red and Sonny West that I do enjoy their stories. They grew on me over the years, I guess, because they also said they were very sorry about even writing that book later on. They really felt sorry about it, so them and Billy Smith, of course. Those are my 3 favorite Memphis Mafia members. Mary Ellis, you don't inhale cigars. Probably not. It's probably too much nicotine. You're going to die. I could get that. But, I don't know. It's just really, Elvis was just like ahead of his time. That's all. In so many different ways, guys. So many different ways. So, without further ado, hey, before I go, thank you all for joining me this evening, right? You could have went to any Elvis channel, for all the King's men watching, but you didn't. You came to Tenderly Loving Elvis, and for that, I tenderly love all you guys, like we do our guy. And guys, thank you so much for being here at 10 o'clock tonight. Like I said, I had company and I was running a little late, and y'all came here and pulled through on a late Friday night. So thank you. Thank you. So yeah, we're going to share one more video before I go tonight. Yeah, just, it's not very long. Just give me a minute, guys. Give me a minute of your time. It's not very long, but you might like to hear what has to be told if you haven't seen it already. So here, guys, I'm going to show you, and listen very carefully what Mr. Danny has to say. Memphis Mafia Kid.
Y'all, we appreciate each and every one of you. Before we get out of here, I want to say, I'm not sure, just be watching, but y'all all know Shauna, Tenderly Loving Elvis. Hey, girl. We're going to be on her show sometime next week. So be watching out for her. She will let you know. But me and Teresa will be on her show. We're going to kind of do a little birthday celebration for the girl.
We'll be live from your mom and daddy.
Yes. And we're looking forward to that. Like I said, the Elvis event is doing great. If you hadn't got them and you think you might can make it, hey, get with Danielle. We're looking forward to we always look forward to doing that. But y'all, I mean, what can I say? We appreciate each and every one of y'all. We love you. Our shout outs to all our, not trying to make anything anybody, but we have our friends and people that I admire and thank you. And so I am going to give them a shout out, like I said, which is, and I have before, which is Kyle and his channel, EP Vault, I think it is, A to Z, Rick, of course, Josh, Australia, and Shauna, and there's others I'm going to start mentioning out there, and it's got nothing to do with.
Yeah, we don't want to listen to the rest, even though you guys already watched it. I'm sure. But yes, my birthday is next week, and one of my birthday presents is having Danny Teresa. And did she say this correctly? That when they do my show, they're going to be live at Billy and Joe's house. Ooh, boy, that's like an awesome birthday present. Memphis Mafia Kid, thank you. And Teresa, I mean, oh my gosh, they're not just going to be on my show next week. If I remember of just hearing, they're going to be at Billy and Joe's house while they're doing the live with me. So I hope Billy and Joe make an appearance. That would just be the most awesome birthday present. I've been wanting to talk to Billy and Joe for a long time. I've been friends with them on Facebook for a very long time, but they don't really answer messages or anything. Danny's daughter, Danielle, does it for them. So never really conversed with them, but if they do, that'll be amazing. I would totally, oh my gosh. You guys, wow. So yes, they're going to be on my show next week to celebrate my birthday. And I hope that, I get to at least see Billy and Joe. That would be great. And you guys will be with me. I know you guys will. It'll be a fun birthday event. So Danny, Memphis Mafia Kid, love you guys, and Teresa so much. We are Elvis family. We are the Elvis family for them. They're our Elvis family. We love EFM and we love Memphis Mafia Kid and Teresa. Okay, guys, thank you so much for joining me this evening. Okay, we did this correctly tonight. We watched All the Kingsmen, Part 2, Volume 3, and we did it with a tenderly loving Elvis heart because we could actually just stop and talk about what we just heard, which is good because there were just a few things in there I had not heard before. So tonight that was interesting. But like I said, so far there hasn't been anything in this series that's like really, really bad. So I don't know where all the controversy's coming from. But as you guys know, I will definitely speak up if they say anything bad about our guy. But so far, it really isn't that bad. Guys, thank you for joining me, spilling the tea. Thank you. Haley Bug, I hope you get better, girl. Thank you. Karen, love you too. Sylvie, you guys are awesome. Bethana, Mary, Francis. Okay, thank you. And Rainbow, I see you. I'm trying to get all of you. Melissa, my gosh. 60-something people watching on a Friday that wasn't bad. Erica, thank you, especially on a Friday where I'm late and we're just reviewing 40 minutes of something we haven't seen before. Tina, hello and thank you. Velvis, love you. I can see you. All right, guys. I will see you guys. Let's see. It is Friday. I might have a video Monday or Wednesday, but you guys know I am always around, okay? TCBTLC. God bless you all. And you know what? I'll see you on the other side, of course. Talk to you later, everybody. Be safe out there, okay? And know that I love you guys. Bye, everybody. Talk to you later.